Hey everyone, it's Mr. Souther coming at you with Unit 1, Lesson 8 about inheritance. So let's get started. I'll kind of walk you through this and do notes in front of you when we're back in person. We kind of talked about this yesterday and I want to continue it. But essentially, inheritance is about having a class extend out to create a subclass. Now, the reason for having inheritance is that, for example, in our case, we've been working a lot with Painter, right? So in Painter, the Painter has the ability to move, take paint, right? Do all of those methods. What if I want to create something where I don't want to mess with what someone already created in that class? And what I would like to do is provide a way to alter the code and add to it, but also not worry about messing with the code that's already been there. Okay, so what we did yesterday was we created a Painter Plus file, Java file. How do we do that? I hit new file, and then we type in the Painter Plus name. So in this case, I'll do Painter Plus with two or a bunch of S's. Excuse me. And that's going to create that Java file. And the main thing I need to remember is I need to write a public class and then Painter plus, how many S's did I use? Way too many, right? Typically, that would be the move to create a new Painter plus class. But remember, we want to make sure that we also extend or create this Painter plus with a lot of S's as a subclass. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and use Painter plus, and we're going to write the keyword extends Painter. And so what that allows me to do is go ahead and create that subclass. Okay, so coming back here, that's what we did. I'm going to go ahead and delete this just because it's an extra file. I'm going to go back to this Painter Plus .java. So you can see yesterday we wrote Painter Plus extends Painter. That class is done. And then just for fun, I made a turn right. So this method does not exist currently in Painter. How do I know that? Well, in the documentation tab, if you go to org.code.neighborhood and hit Painter, you will see all of the possible methods that are in Painter. There is a turn left, but there's unfortunately not a turn right. So I use the opportunity, excuse me, in having Painter Plus to go ahead and create turn right. So how do you write that? Writing any method. So in this case, there's a couple keywords. And I went over this in class, but I want to make sure it's very clear. We always use, well, almost always use public, especially for methods. You might ask, well, what's public? And I'm guessing there's a private, Mr. Southard. So yeah, there is a private keyword as well. Public just means that this method that I created called turn right can be accessed anywhere in the code. So you might ask, well, why do we have things that are private? And a lot of times it comes down to, well, I don't want it accessed outside of that class. I want to do something specific. Maybe it has a similar title or a similar name, but it just does quite something a little bit different than what it might happen in other classes. Maybe I make a series of classes just for the painter object, and someone else comes along and makes a series of classes for doing window washing or whatever other thing that you're trying to perform. In which case, you very well might have the same class names, but you want to keep them separate. Okay, so the void, in case you're wondering, it's in purple. So this keyword, what it does is it specifies what kind of return the method does. You don't need to quite really understand the importance of that yet. Just know that for now, when you are not trying to do a calculation or not trying to spit out anything from running a method, you just need to use the void keyword. So we will almost exclusively use void right now because we're just trying to make an object do stuff. We don't need it to calculate and do arithmetic. So, okay, so we have all that set up. So in terms of lesson 8, I already created the new file name. I wrote the class header, and this is the class header right here, which is on line 3. That's what you need to know. Is there anything else they want me to do? Okay, in the tester class, they wanted me to spawn that Painter Plus object, which I did. Right? Painter plus Josiah equals new Painter plus. And then while we were on this, I was like, well, let's go ahead because they're going to have me do it later. Go ahead and spawn Josiah and move him around, move him to that cone, in which I did. I used the while loop just because we learned that before to go ahead and ask the question, hey, if Josiah can move, go ahead and move. And then we did, that's so the conditional statement here that we're trying to check if it's true or false is, can Josiah move? And when he spawns, he absolutely can. And you'll notice that I write one line of code for him to move, but it keeps repeating. And that's the beauty of a while loop. So it'll keep repeating until it can't no more. And at the end, I said, hey, let's go ahead and use that new method I made called turn right. And I did, which is remember, if this is painter, so let's go ahead and just do it just so I can break it, right? Because sometimes we learn about things by breaking them. If I spawn a painter object called Josiah and I tell him to turn right, you're going to get the error because, well, it has no idea what turn right is. It's looking at the painter class, not the painter plus. So that's something interesting to remember. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that and run them. And obviously, once we get to here and turn right, like all you have to do is just copy and paste this lodges I can move thing at the end, and then you're all set. Run them, and we'll be done. Okay, so to move on, always hit test, and it passes all the tests, of course. I mean, I did the minimum thing that they asked, and then I did a lot more after that. So let's go and hit finish. All right, so again, I think on this one is where they wanted me to do the move. Yeah, they want me to navigate. So the only thing I'm missing that people don't like to do is the comment word. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put in those comments. All right. So I want to spawn or instantiate Josiah as the new Painter Plus class object. Okay. And then Josiah should move so long as he can. And then he can't move, turn right. So we face, into the open, like, open spaces. And then obviously we're gonna do one more loop, right? Which is move while he can. Just something as simple as that, just so we know kind of what every block of code is doing. And by putting in those comments, it's a really good habit. It's really sloppy for students to, or anybody, any coder to not have the comments in. And it looks like I succeeded everything. So I'm gonna finish. And we should get to more of the fun stuff here. Which is it. Oh, I thought there was more practice. My bad. So we have kind of superclass, subclass, right? You can see the answer right there in front of you. But something I'm going to tell you is we want to make sure that it's important to understand what's a superclass and a subclass. So superclass is painter, subclass would be painter plus. In terms of examples of inheritance, if in this case, let's go through one by one. Plants is a superclass, flower is the subclass. So these are kind of those weird questions where you have to kind of use your understanding of the world. It should be pretty basic to understand like what's a sub division or sub species or a subclass of whatever it is we're talking about. Plants is pretty general. Flower would be a part of a plant, right? So I can see that happening. Let's look at number two. Like, does a flower inherit the traits of a plant? I mean, I'm kind of iffy on that, but I can buy it just because a flower is a part of a plant. Okay. Car is a superclass, wheel is a subclass. Okay, so wheel is a part of the car. Is it able to do everything that a car does? And remember, a car has engines, windows, wipers. Wheel is a very specific thing, component of a car. So obviously that wouldn't work. Three, we have book is a superclass, graphic novel is a subclass. Makes sense. I think it's a genre, right? Or a type of book that you're reading. So graphic novel, like comic books, for example, that would be a type of book. Books have papers, they have binding, right? They have a cover. So do graphic novels. So I can see one and three. One's a little bit suspect just because a flower, I guess, is a part of a plant. Does it do photosynthesis and all that? No, but in this case, I think they're trying to tell you that it inherits the traits of a plant because a flower has I'm thinking of the flower petal part, but there's also the stem, right? Leaves and things like that. So, and you can see in the answer too, I just see right here, one and three only would be it. So, that's it for today. Go ahead and play around with it a bit, and then you can move on to lesson 9 as well when you are ready. So, thanks.